difficult. I mean, it's a long story, but I guess it's just that I've always had strong feelings about stuff, politics, social welfare, and whatnot, and I'm too afraid to become a political leader in my own right and change things, and decided that business is, it's a tiring way of doing things. So after jumping around in several industries for 11 years, a friend of mine started an online portal about 2008. So I joined them, writing features. Features is quite boring, and then I mean, you spend time features, but there's no excitement to it, and you cannot address the issues that you really want to address. And so I joined Malaysia Kini, and I've been here for 3 years, which is 2 years more than all my previous employments, which were 1 year hops. So mainly it's a desire to be able to do something to address the challenges that I believe Malaysia is facing right now. Yes, I like to talk a lot, and now I have the opportunity to talk to a wider audience than just 3 to 5 of my friends at the coffee shop. But I believe Malaysia is sick, and we're going to have to do our part. And that's my small part in providing a cure, so to speak. Well, but when it comes to writing, I think it's a lifelong experience for me, a lifelong journey. I started getting introduced to books, but since a very young age, my late father encouraged me to read, and I decided that, well, when you read, you can also write, because then you'll be able to control what's on the page, somewhat of a control freak. So I think I started writing poetry, commentaries, essays since I was primary school, English and Malay, continued until secondary school, and even when I was doing my degree in the United States, I continued writing, but never professionally, though. It's been a large part of my career all throughout my life. Usually I'll be the one writing the business prospectus, proposals, or marketing collaterals. I mean, it's one of the things I'm good at. But I guess those are a bit more unfocused, more on writing for money and rather than writing for one you believe for, writing for passion, which I believe this is what I believe connected me to journalism when I first came in contact with it. When it comes to writing, I am technically a creative writer. As I said, I wrote short stories, poetry, still working on my novels. So no books yet, but I tend to write in the longhand. I mean, I use big words, long sentences, but it works for me because it's always the narrative when you're a writer. You engage even when I was writing business proposals, you engage your audience with the narrative, and it's a bit difficult when I first became a journalist because it's supposed to be short, concise, inverted pyramid, all that theoretical stuff, but I adapted. I mean, it's one of my biggest challenges, which is still a problem now because not many people actually read dictionaries like I do. So
read dictionaries?
Yes, dictionaries and encyclopedias. They don't read it from cover to cover and page to page. So I learned to cut. My biggest challenge is to learn not to use big words and write long sentences. I guess that's my biggest challenge. Everything else is solved because I believe it's passion involved. So when it comes to technicalities, learning how to adapt house styles, techniques and whatnot, no problem, because basically it's just a different form of storytelling, and I am first and foremost a storyteller ever since a kid. So that's my biggest challenge. But of course, working for a news portal which is considered on the fringe like Malaysia Kini, other challenge would be authorities and legal suits. I've been named in at least one legal suit, and I've been invited as guests to the police in some cases as well. But I don't know. I mean, they're also doing their job, but it is official oversight is in a way a shackle for journalists who are actually just trying to do their job. Lawsuits, police reports. Of course, the odd one or two SBs that you sometimes mention events, but I don't know. I mean, if you can term it harassment, yeah, I would agree. But I guess if you just learn to be more careful in what you do. You still do your job, but if they want to play technicalities, then you just play technicalities. I mean, if you want to go on semantics, you use semantics. Whenever you report on something, use a lot of allege and claims and whatnot, and put it on the newsmaker instead on the organisation. But although there are safeguards in place, even in alternative media organization, that you avoid seditious matters that can cause unrest and whatnot. But in general, we publish all stupidities of our leaders because we believe if you claim to be a leader, then your personal stupidity should be public knowledge. But yeah, I mean, I guess it would impact on the way because every time we see policemen will think they're coming to call me again for a statement and whatnot. Number one, it wastes your time. Especially you're called to court to be a witness. And they come and sometimes they confiscate your tools that you do your work with, your notebooks, your phones, your cameras, and that impacts in a way whether your performance of your duties. The fear sometimes it can create. Although at times it can make you more angry. I mean, the first time I was questioned by SPs at PKR, an anniversary for their 2008 victory in Kampung Baru. It's like, to question one rookie journalist, there were like 5 SBs, and it's like, at first I was quite scared. My first month or second month on the job, it's like, you're standing there in the ring of 5 SBs, but then I decided that I haven't done anything wrong. I took my notebook, my pen, and I started questioning where they're from, what they're doing, what the charges and whatnot, and of course, they decided that they have other things to do. So, yeah, it can be a demotivator, but it can also actually make you more committed to do your job. But I guess it is a stressful environment when you are on the pivot of official oversight. But I guess that's what it takes to do your job. Then, if you really believe in your profession, that's what you do. I'm secretly a megalomaniac who loves being right. No, actually, as I said, my spirit has not yet been broken. So, yeah, I'm still here. But most journalists moves up the ladder into the editorial team. They start out as journalist, senior journalist, chief reporter, assistant news editor. Well, I would expect to move on a more different angle because I'm thinking of becoming an analyst. You can become senior in your field without having to burden yourself with the administrative duties. Although I do admit that editors play a major role in publications and you do need to put experienced people there, but I also believe that you can become senior journalist and then move on to analyst and start looking at stuff and things and stop doing too much hard news reporting and go more in-depth pieces, which I believe Malaysian news media at the moment is lacking. We cover news every day, ping-pong matches between politicians. He said this, she said that, and whatnot. But not many people actually do in-depth pieces, for example, on our healthcare system. A lot of people criticize one care, but do people actually understand how it undermines our public health system? Do people understand the roots and causes of the problem? So I believe in certain cases, we need in-depth pieces like that to expose our own structural problems, and that's where the role of analysts would be. I guess it's better if I bring Spider-Man into this. With great power comes great responsibility. I believe that media freedom should be accorded to all news organizations, whether it's Utusan or Malaysia Kini, on both sides of the spectrum. Now, what they do with the news is how you hold them accountable to. We, for example, covered the same news event, but Tok Guru saying that UMNO should be mindful of what they do will become like Tok Guru condemns UMNO or something, or it's in terms of you should be free to go out and find news, to report news, but you have to be held accountable for what you print and do. So it's a freedom to do, but to be responsible for as well.